What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you all are having a very blessed and wonderful day. Today's video topic is, well, a fun one because we're going to be going over the developer Q&A that we had take place for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I got the camera on today, so that's how you know it's going to be a good video. Now, before I even get into the questions, there's one thing specifically I just want to go ahead and knock out the way first. Now, let me go ahead. I got to drop this down so I can show you guys. Drop Discord. Boom. So at the end of the Q&A, we got our first tease of anything post-launch content related. And as you can clearly see, this building looks very familiar. If you've ever watched the Harley Quinn show, then this might have been the second time you've actually seen a tower like this in recent memory. This tower belongs to none other than the Joker. The Joker. See, because I even posted a picture about how this was immediately the first thing that I thought of, right? This was in, I think, season 1 of the Harley Quinn show. This is what we're gonna be getting. He renamed the Daily Bugle as the Daily Chuckle. And there's another thing too. So on the side of the building, there's a stack of newspapers. If you zoom in on those newspapers, you get your first image of the Joker in the Suicide Squad. Now, exactly how this is Joker, who this really is, where did he come from, we have no idea. But so far, it's definitely living up to the name in terms of showmanship. I can say that. But yeah, no, post-launch content, I need more. I need to know more. We need that next Insider episode. But going back over to the Q&A, right? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So, scrolling down, we see we have a lot of developers right here. We have I can never pronounce his name correctly without messing it up the first time. We have The Rock, we have Gas, we have Kane, dope name by the way, Ian, Axel, and Johnny. So scrolling down, the first question that we have here comes from Vigilante Cat. What was the funniest part of designing the squad members for the developers? They're very unique and fun, and I'm super excited to meet them. Now, they say, we wanted to make sure each character's traversal was as unique as their respective personalities, and that's also why they occupy different game spaces during combat. You will usually find Deadshot hovering over the battlefield, picking his shots, and swooping in for a shield harvest or juggle kill. Yes, because that's definitely what I was doing in the closed alpha. Also, we can talk about the closed alpha again, which is absolutely dope. Harley occupies the mid-height space, swinging through the fight and grappling her way out of dangerous situations. Boomer is the one closest to the ground and much more up close and personal. Shark presents a mix of the up close and personal, but his super leaps and air dashes let him swim over the battlefield. This all presented us with a pretty unique challenge, and so as far as making sure that each enemy type and encounter type present different challenges for each squad member, just based on the nature of how each character traversal works, that was a really fun challenge for us to solve, and it made designing these characters all the more exciting. Ian, I said, thank you for your kind words. Behind the scenes, there's a lot going on as we are only a few weeks away from launch. Man, the game really is close. I need this game in my hands, though. I need this game in my hands like right away. Boomerang doesn't really know what is going on and doesn't want to risk his neck for anybody. That's Boomerang's character in a nutshell. Okay, next question. I've heard from a few developers, Jacket mainly, shout out to Jacket, mention about the build possibilities in game, and could you guys elaborate more on the possibilities of the characters? I'm also primarily going to be reading the questions just so we can get through this. Now, this is a most excellent question, Axel says. Where to start? First of all, when we designed the game, player choice and player freedom was one of our core design philosophies. We really want you to feel like you can make each character your own and build it to suit your playstyle. But if you take the leap and really play into the gear, you can find truly crazy powerful combinations. At launch, we're looking at hundreds of possible combinations and permutations for builds across our 4 characters, and this is something we're adding a lot to in post-launch. We're not supposed to talk about that today though, but I'm really excited for you all to see the cool stuff that we've got cooking. When it comes to build construction, we have quite a few elements that we consider to be core parts. First and foremost, we have the gear and the 8 loadout slots. 2 of them we still haven't seen yet, by the way. They weren't even unlocked in the alpha. Then we have our afflictions each developed by Poison Ivy using a DC character's powers. Deep Freeze, Diablo Blaze, Live Wire Bolt, and Venom Frenzy. So I was wrong about it being Maxi Zeus, but I kind of like that as Live Wire. I'm okay with that. Afflictions can be applied to your melee weapons and later on in the game to your grenades. Then we have each character's character talent tree, which is the backbone of each character's playstyle. Harley is very acrobatic and loves explosions. Her talent tree reflects this. Deadshot is highly precise and proficient with his weapons, so you'll find lots of critical hits and counter talents. Shark is our powerhouse character, so you'll find lots of ways of dominating enemies with his powerful melee strikes in his talent tree. Finally, Boomerang is our trickster, the most all-around character, but there's a lot of talent that leverages variable and fast traversal to quickly close the range to enemies and then quickly get back to mid-long range. Then we have the traversal mechanics, plus the traversal attacks and suicide strikes, which all have their own flavor. Then we have each character's loadout. Each character has 3 weapon types that they are proficient with from 6 types, which are assault rifles, pistols, snipers, shotguns, SMGs, and heavy weapons. And that's a long way to say there's a lot of depth for you all to explore, especially in Endgame, and lots of different ways to master the game and change the way that you play based on how you want to customize your character. We don't want my chest. We don't want to spoil the exploration of builds in the game too much, but I think we can at least mention a few in-game builds. If you in-game build favors that are making their rounds with the developers. The slow-mo crit is one where you use 2 items as openers. The great suspender melee weapon to launch enemies into the air in slow motion, paired with the slow and steady grenade that launches any enemy hit up into the air in slow motion but does no damage. The turkey shoot firearm is a great finisher for this build since it does guarantee critical hits to enemy in slow motion. This is an especially powerful build in co-op, where one can focus on setting up enemies and one can focus on burning them down while they're caught in slow motion. There's also a boomerang talent that sends enemies up in slow motion on melee hits, so it's worth keeping an eye out for that one. There is some debate around additional items to make that build really shine. Some go for Dr. Crits, an item that regenerates shield on critical hits, and some goes for hit and run, an item that gives traversal attack resource on critical hits. I don't even know if I want to read the rest of it, because I'm not gonna lie, this is a very thought out and detailed answer, and it's like, god damn. I'm gonna read this last one though. Another favorite in the studio is Bang It Up. Now, Bang It Up. Not one of the most creative names, I'll admit, but it's pretty descriptive and it revolves around getting the bang grenade. That does a crazy amount of damage, but you can only carry 1 grenade at a time. This is paired with the bullet propelled grenade firearm, which drops a live grenade on critical hits alongside the exploding Grace Traversal mod, which drops a live grenade when you do a skill landing, ground bounce or ground slides. This means you get 2 ways to drop a free bang grenade. Most pair this with the Prison Pinata melee weapon, which drops grenade ammo on shield harvesting kills as a consistent way to get. Okay, so already, like, just this one build, this is just grenade spam. I like it. Now, next question. Is there a tier above Notorious? Because I saw this in the previews, and yes, there is. Thank you for the question, Leahy. I assume from the all caps questions you are passionate about loot as we are. The different rarities in our game are common, uncommon, rare. I'm gonna start following along too, so you guys can keep up where I'm at. The different rarities of gear in our game are common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, notorious, and infamy sets. Common to epic increase in power in the number of possible augments available, but legendary, notorious, and infamous is where we really turn up the heat. Go down. There you go. Every legendary item in the game has a unique augment that changes the way you play in some fashion, like the cooler or sniper rifle that freezes on a critical hit, or the combo meal firearms, which gives you max combo on a successful critical counter, or my personal favorite, Bang, a legendary grenade that only lets you carry 1 grenade at a time but does 500% more damage with a big explosion. Infamy sets are brutally powerful sets of gear themed around some of the most iconic and threatening villains in the DC universe. These gain unique effects the more the piece of a set you have equipped and are designed to synergize with legendary and notorious gear. Notorious gear are some of the rarest and, in my opinion, coolest items to find in game, all themed at the DC villains, both in how they look, in their gameplay effects, and they completely change the way you play, often requiring you to build around them to get the most out of their unique power. In in-game builds, you will most likely be using a mix of legendary, notorious, and infamy sets to deck out your squad member, and each build will require that you play the game differently to get the most out of it. When you find that build that suits the character you want to play and the way you want to play that character, you can make some pretty outlandish combinations that I think will feel great to play. One, because I'm trying to keep it going. One of the core design philosophies of the game was to create a gear system that doesn't necessarily linearly increase in power and have a clear path to the optimal item, but to create items that have wild and game-changing effects that must actively be engaged with to find the most powerful strategies and overcome the toughest encounters. In that spirit, we've made one of the biggest changes over the last year is to remove the gear score from the game. So I assume this is one of the things that was done during the delay from the last release date, which was May, until now. They completely got rid of the gear score. This change means that players who find, for example, a legendary weapon early in game, like real early, they can use it without fear that they're shooting themselves in the foot by not equipping a different gun with a higher gear score. The challenge then becomes exploring how you want to play the game and find gear that synergizes with that, or lean into changing the way that you play the game to get the most out of the gear you have. A big part of our in-game was the theory craft, which gear pieces can synergize, and how to construct builds is one of the things I'm really excited about when we launch the game. So not only that, we also do have loadouts too. I believe it was in Jar's video. It was in Jar's video where we actually seen you have like a decent number of different loadout slots. The reason why I like this specifically is because if you pick up a gun early on, I've said this before in a couple of videos, there's been numerous games where I've come across a weapon that I really like, but it was either a lower rarity or it was a lower level. So at some point I was gonna have to get rid of that weapon and move on and move forward. But seeing as how you're gonna be able to craft guns, you're also gonna be able to respec your weapons. You can change the perks on it, you can change the augments on it. If you find a weapon that you really like early on, you can literally just keep it and then re-roll it once you get the change. You won't have to worry about, oh, I really like this weapon but it's level 10 so I can't take it no further. I can still re-roll it, but it's not gonna matter because no, they completely got rid of the levels. That right there, that's a big plus. That's a big plus, and that's something that a lot of live service games don't do actually. Now, the next question, Q-Shoe, shout out to the homie Q-Shoe. Are there any plans past characters reaching max level, like a prestige system or something down the line? I talked about this on my Twitter as well. A most excellent question. To start with, each member of the squad has their own unique talent trees, 3 for each character with 10 tiers within each tree. These powerful upgrades to different playstyles, these provide powerful upgrades to different playstyles, as well as an interesting choice to how you want to play to your squad members. That said, we really want to reward you if you keep playing the game past reaching max level with a character. Once level 30 max is reached on a squad member, you will unlock squad talents. This is a shared group of upgrades between all your squad members regardless of their level. There are a lot of these, and for the squad levels they are actually infinite, and there is no real level cap. You can freely respec your squad talents the same as the regular talents at almost any time. These also add yet another layer of customizability for different playstyles and builds, where the talent tree provides you with more game and playstyle defining traits. The squad levels are geared more towards specialization with specific weapon types or game mechanics. Each squad member level counts towards your total squad levels, and the higher the squad level, the more squad talents are available. For those of you who are especially astute, that means if you level up all your characters, you can get additional squad levels really quickly. That also applies to characters that they add post-launch, but they can't talk about that here today. So, hold on one second. All right, we back. So, this is a Paragon system, and this is nice because when we had a chance to look at the skill tree, right, it was a couple of skills that I did enjoy, but since I was just going through the alpha, playing through the alpha, like I wasn't really going for any specific build. I was more so just picking the ones that I liked at the time. But being able to go back and freely respec the trees in order to match up a certain build, I'm not gonna lie, that's fire. It's something that I have seen in games before. I haven't seen it a lot, but it is very nice to be able to have that ability to do so. My whole thing is this: will the respecs carry over through loadout saves? Because like for example, if we change, because like if we change our skill tree points to match a different loadout, but that other loadout is saved in one of our slots, will the talents also carry over to a loadout slot save? Right? That's essentially my question. I should have asked that. Actually, I should have asked that or asked something close to see if we could get an answer, but too little too late. Don't worry, the game's only like a couple of weeks away. We'll find out when we get our hands on it. Okay, so next question. Thanks for doing this, guys. This is from AO. AOK. I'm gonna call you AOK8. Clearly, movement will be a huge factor in the gameplay. What was the process like in balancing out each character so that they feel different but not overpowered compared to the others? Not at all, Johnny says. We're hyped to be able to do this and speak directly to you all. You're absolutely right. Traversal was such a huge part of our game, both in terms of gameplay and the squad personality. We wanted to give each squad member a traversal style that made them feel unique, powerful, and it made sense for their character, but most importantly, felt fun moment to moment. This is always at the forefront of the decisions that we make. Does just traversing through the world feel fun? Does this feel good in your hands? It does. For example, take King Shark. We knew that early on, due to his size and weight, we really wanted this to come across in how he moved. When we started designing his moveset, we were actually using animal references, rhinoceroses, elephants, to try and convey that sense of a rampaging, destructive force that builds up momentum. We believe his traversal really captures that sense of animalistic power, and when you build up speed, you can smash through a group of enemies and then leap high into the air to come down crashing onto some other enemy, and it just feels good. Or Harley, who comes with an expectation of acrobatics and flow and movement. We wanted to add a twist with that with the bat drone and the grapple gun as a unique form of movement, and either a grudging nod of respect to Batman from her, or a middle finger depending on how you see it. Though practically this was done so we could give her a traversal mechanic that supported swinging and grappling without having to rely solely on tall buildings or structures at all in order for Harley to get around. The ability to use the momentum for a grapple into a swing, a dive, or even a faster swing all without having to touch the ground feels super satisfying when you pull it off. And in terms of balancing them all gameplay wise, we're really in a good place now where they all feel powerful and excel at different things, which in turn we hope will match players' own different styles and preferences. For example, Deadshot's ability to create vantage points in space by hovering makes sniping very effective, where Boomer's instant dash makes him perfect for smash and grab style tactics where he can get in, smash, and get them out. I'm just not realizing that my camera is like partially in the way. Why ain't nobody tell me? Ain't nobody tell me my camera was in the way. Hold up, I'll make my camera smaller so y'all can see some of the I wish y'all would have said something. All right. Being able to seamlessly blend between traversal and combat moment to moment was making this feel impactful. It was always at the forefront of our decisions. One of the more challenging sides, however, is managing the speeds of characters and how they work not only with each other but the game itself. Harley for the longest time just wouldn't get in line with the rest, very much on brand. Having a very deep traversal system, she has a lot of room for skill expression in the hands of an experienced player. Unfortunately, the skill they wish to express was swinging so fast they break the game. All right, so that right there answers the question as to why she can't swing more like Spider-Man, or why she wasn't swinging much faster than she already does. The game was breaking whenever she did that. Balancing this so all of the characters are in line with each other for launch and also year one while making them all feel fun has been challenging, but feel they all really are in a good place. Even across the developer team, everyone has a different favorite character and alt to use, which is an ongoing debate as to who is the best, which is ridiculous, and it's obviously Shark. All these Shark players, I understand it though. Shark is the heart. That man is the heart and soul of that group. Okay, it's true. Johnny needs to up his traversal game. Damn, Johnny, why they throwing shots at Johnny? That's crazy. All right, but Gutsman asks, can you swap characters anytime in the game? Can you swap in between both co-op and single player, and are the skill tree points shared between characters? If you have a skill point and use it on a character, is it still available for the other characters if you can swap them? I keep forgetting to highlight the text so y'all can read. I'm sorry, but I'm scatterbrained and y'all know this. I'm trying my best right now. All right, we are back. Had a quick intermission, but I also made the screen bigger just so y'all can follow along a little bit better. All right, so you can swap to a different squad member anytime you are out of combat. In a 2-player session, you each have a bot character that you can switch to. In a 3-player session, the session owner gets the honor of having an additional bot character that they can switch to. When you're in a 4-player co-op session, you will have to go back to the Hall of Justice in order to switch. The switch honestly is very much the same as GTA 5's mechanic with the control pad, like switching between Franklin, Michael, Trevor, and then your online character. That's pretty much what that's like to me, and it's damn near instant. So that's another thing that I like about it. Now, if you are playing single player, we also have our psyched up feature, where a certain squad member will be psyched up for specific missions. For example, Boomerang has a lot of history with Penguin, and when you recruit him for Waller, he's psyched up to get to see Pango again. Of course, Pango doesn't remember him at all. If you play the mission as a psyched up squad member, that character does extra damage and takes less damage, and will also gain a massive XP boost from the mission. This is a great way to quickly level up different squad members and get a taste for how they all play without worrying about any single squad member falling too far behind. Each time a character levels up, you get 1 skill point to spend on that character's talent tree. All squad members have separate XP levels and talent trees because we didn't want you to have to constantly manage each character's talent tree as soon as you switch to them, because they all have points left to spend. However, as mentioned earlier, past level 30, when you unlock the squad talents, those are all shared between squad members. Talents are one of the systems that I'm most excited for you all to try so many builds. Next question comes from Stormy Valentine. Will there be free roam? Will there be collectibles after you completed the game? And Johnny says there will be free roam. After Amanda Waller has given you permission to carry out your mission, the squad have access to the entirety of Metropolis. Once the shackles are off or on, not sure where I'm going with this analogy, shackles off, but burning bombs in, that's it. You can choose to explore the city however you wish. There will be side missions, enemies patrolling the city, iconic Metropolis landmarks, and plenty of hidden, not so hidden Easter eggs for you to find. I definitely found a few regarding the certain characters in the overall bigger DC world, like the homeless Avenger. That was a shock to see. That's a very what's the word I'm looking for? That's like a very minor character. Not a lot of people are gonna know who that is. Now, there will also be plenty of collectibles. The Riddler has made his way to Metropolis, and he's pissed that he wasn't recruited for this mission and wants to prove his superior intellect. He is testing the squad both physically and mentally. He set up AR courses to test your prowess and traversal, and if you get around the courses quick enough, you'll wind up Riddler and also be rewarded with some free outfit pieces just for the squad members. Riddler. I can't forget. Riddles. There we go. Riddles are back to test your mental skills and your knowledge of the DC universe. And there are trophies. It wouldn't be an Arkhamverse game without some Riddler trophies. Sadly, that is true. Next question comes from Gold Snake. Will we see the environment change as the seasons progress? Johnny says, most definitely. This is something that we knew we wanted to do from the start. To be able to keep Metropolis evolving along with our players, and seeing how Brainiac has the ability to phase in portions of other worlds. Yeah, Candor, sitting in a bottle. Metropolis is a constantly shifting battlefield, and as your battle with Brainiac and the Justice League progresses, you can expect the city to change along with it, not only across the duration of the story, but post-launch also. Now, this was also very important for us in the dev team to be able to create a city which players could experience, enjoy, learn all of the best routes through, and then be able to switch things up on them. So you'll have to make sure that you'll get your bearings as what you were previously using to navigate by. It may not be there next time. So the environment changing, massively changing over time definitely means a lot, because it's what's the word I'm looking for? Knowing that Brainiac likes to bottle cities and he usually has like a very large collection of them in his inventory, that definitely can be a way to cheat in new locations for us to travel to, or even adding in new locations on top of Metropolis, right? So to say. Now, you smashed it. Metropolis itself on the move through as Captain Boomerang specifically. Boogie Mob acts about one of my favorite features in the game. Is it true that squads of friends can select my character when I'm not playing if I'm at work or something? And if my character, no, if my squad takes my character with them, I can also give them mission loot and experience points. Now, I believe this was hinted at by the homie with June coming out of the reviews that he got to do when he was invited out to California to, I believe it was California, when he got invited out to play the game. Now, Axel says it doesn't quite work like that. If anything, is better, as you're not just limited to friends, but that person can also be online when you get their characters into your squad. We call this feature Social Squad. With Social Squad, if you're playing alone and you're not playing with certain members of the squad, you can replace those squad members with those other players. And as we mentioned before, they don't even need to be your friends. If you want, you can go to the leaderboards and find the best players in the world and then get their characters into your squad. Or maybe you have a favorite streamer and you want their characters in your squad. Social Squad teammates will keep all of the gear, cosmetics, and talents that their original owners have equipped, just as if you have joined them in a co-op session. It's really an interesting way of getting that feeling of playing with others, even when you're just in a solo session. Now, my Harley will be beating your dead shot even when I'm sleeping. Axel, the original owners also get a kickback if their characters are used in someone else's squad. When they next jump in game, they will receive a small portion of the resources and loot that you've earned by playing. This is separate from the rewards you earn for yourself, so it doesn't take away from the loot that you get while you're playing. Ain't nobody gonna use my character, man. It'll be dope, but ain't nobody gonna use them. But I mean, that's already like a pretty. That's nuts in and out of itself. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Now, for the last question, Saying, sorry if I mispronounced it, but Saying asks, "What will Endgame be like?" And Axel saying, "Oh, they out of time." That is a goddamn lie, sir. So, I love this question because Endgame is one of the things that I'm most excited about to share with you all. But I'm also worried that I'm going to get tackled by our community team for writing an essay on this topic, so I will try to break it down into smaller segments. After you've completed the main story, Endgame is a huge, constantly evolving and challenging experience for you to put your skills to the test. Our core philosophy for Endgame was essentially mastery. Mastery of your character, traversal, talents, enemy types, mission mechanics, and of course your choice of build. As the difficulty increases, you will have to find new builds to overcome the challenge. That's why we have 3 distinct tiers of infamy sets in game, all themed around an iconic DC character. For launch, that character is Bane, and his infamy sets are all themed around different ways of dominating your enemies and harnessing the chaos around you. We have a somewhat chaotic game with a constantly changing battlefield with lots of things going on. The game is frantic and fast paced, and we've purposely made it to feel like the squad is always surrounded and in the middle of chaos. And mastery of the game comes from you harnessing that chaos and using it as one of your strengths, turning it into the very thing Brainiac is throwing at you right back at him. Boop. Okay, that was a boomerang pun. I get it now. Now, because our game is chaotic and because we wanted our in-game to lean into build construction as well as mastery of mechanics, we've made our in-game revolve around a core backbone of mission types that provide a more predictable experience and challenge. But that doesn't mean Brainiac is just going to sit back and let you go head to head with his forces without throwing a spanner in the works, or that you know what's going to happen in each mission. Each mission. Brainiac keeps evolving his forces throughout in-game, and you will have to adapt your builds to match this. There will be several types of missions, from the snappier incursion missions where the poor squad is sent into Brainiac's domain under the protection of a very fickle Promethean shield that protects you from the Skull Ship's tentacles, as well as the full force of Brainiac's army. The squad will have to fight their way through Brainiac's forces, often with the help of the support squad, to make it back to Metropolis. But once the mission is completed, the Promethean shield goes down, so the squad has to leg it. Waller's really not doing the squad any favors here, and she seems intent on emphasizing the suicide mission. Then we have the more grand killing time missions where the squad is battling an increasingly frantic horde of Brainiac enemies, and they have to keep killing enemies to fuel the Prometheum shield, because once it goes down, there's no hiding from the Skull Ship's tentacles. As the difficulty levels go up, so do the rewards, and we have some quite frankly insane infamy sets and notorious items that are earned from the highest tiers of Endgame. That paired with the global leaderboards for solo, 2-player, 3-player, or 4-player groups mean that there are plenty of friendly competition to go around. And if you want some tips on how to build your character, the leaderboards will be a good place to scout around. Thank you, Axel. And also not thank you. Okay, so yeah, so he's being funny. And then as we scroll down, we have, again, the Joker teaser. One last thing before we go, since we just finished talking about our Endgame, here's a tease for something that might even come later. This is character concept art of Joker, basically Joker Tower, right? I said this earlier in the video, but he's turned the Daily Bugle into the Daily Chuckle. Now, I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of this is very nuts. Two things specifically are the Social Squad feature, and then yeah, I'll leave the picture up, but the Social Squad feature, and then leaving gear levels off, because that means you're not really gonna be stuck behind anymore whenever it comes to playing with other friends and other people, because more often than not, somebody will come into your world. It would be hard for you to get XP and level up, because since they're a much higher level than you, they're just basically one-tapping everything, right? And then if you go into their world, it's literally like a fly trying to hit the side of a semi-truck. It is just not working. This helps to ensure that a lot of gameplay experience aren't hindered by that very thing. But again, also like I've said, it helps to ensure that you can keep the weapons that you like. Like if you really like something, you don't ever got to get rid of it. I personally think more looter shooters should do that. Just keep it like rarity based instead of level. And then if anything, you could just maybe tweak that going forward. But overall, that's a pretty dope thing. The Social Squad feature, they're really honing in on the Rocksteady is honing in on the emphasis of wanting people to be able to play with each other anytime that they want to. We have cross play, we have cross progression, we have the Social Squad feature, which allows you to play with anybody that you want as long as you can find their profile. You can bring up your friends. You can go and find the random person that's sitting in the number 40 spot on the leaderboard. Just whoever. So you can play with bots normally, I would assume, but you also have the choice of playing with these other players' characters and having them run with you. And I know for a fact, a lot of streamers, and other content creators, I would say there are a good portion of people that are going to benefit greatly from this, because there's a lot of people that want to be able to play with the creators that they like. Sometimes they're on stream, they might have a full team, they might just miss them. They might not be able to play with them at the given time, but they can still play with their character, kind of get a pseudo version of that feeling, and still help that person out in the end, help that person out in the end, because the content creator is going to be getting, some kickback gear and items and whatnot. All in all, the Q&A session was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting them to tease anything post launch wise before we actually get the insider episode, but the Twitter account is actually becoming a bit more active, and whoever is behind it has been telling us, like, over the past few days, that next insider episode is soon. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking like next week, like this upcoming week soon, and best believe gonna be doing a reaction to that. That's gonna go ahead and bring us to the end of this video. However, hopefully you all have had a very great time here. Let me know down in the comments below how you felt about the developer Q&A. Would you like to see another one? How did you feel about various things like the Social Squad feature, the levelless gear, the open world changing over time due to new things and places possibly being introduced, the way they tease, Brainiac keeping cities in his ship? Let me know about all of that. Let's go ahead and start a dialogue. And again, if you've enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and smack that notifications bell so that you'll never miss out on any of my Suicide Squad related content. And I will catch y'all in the moonlight. Peace.